Alright, this is the next in the sequence I'm doing. I'm really elaborating on who the police are and the enabling of what the people are allowing to happen to them by staying confined into the mental prison that's been very cleverly crafted that the majority are still under. So now we're going to go listen to Larkin, and he's going to explain it in a way that's really well done. It's very, very difficult to disprove this or have some logical argument that goes against it.
I know that people are going to say, well, you can't judge all police by what you see on videos. Will someone please show me a video of a cop arresting another cop who just shot an innocent person? Why aren't there any videos of that? For all the cop shooting videos there are, watch the other cops in the video. Or the videos of cops beating the crap out of somebody who isn't even fighting back and then lying about it after the fact. You know, the Rodney King thing was huge. Then Kelly Thomas, gang of complete cowards beat a guy to death.
All right, this one is quite horrendous. This is a tragedy for all of civilization. I know it's only one example, yet that's one that, you know, has come out recently. Now, the picture on the left, he had his son underneath him. And so you think about you, right? You're just an average individual. You have the child looking after. Would you not want to, you know, look after that kind of life for everyone else? Well, this guy ended up being homeless. We don't know what the reason was. Anyway, he got severely beaten by 4 people, I think it was 4 or 3, in uniform, right? And bugger all happened to him, right? If an individual did that, just, you know, off their own back, a whole different outcome. So this is that protection racket that's been running, and the whole disaster of what we allow to happen to one another. You know, there's the real tragedy here, and it's about taking personal ownership of, look at that picture on the right. Which one of you would like that to happen to you? Because if you don't stand up and actually say something about the criminality that's in play and that's been allowed to be in play for like hundreds of years, if not centuries, if you don't stand up for that, right, this is coming to you on some level, right? And we all seen what's happened during the whole convert stuff, right? People have been self-inflicting their own wounds to themselves with poisons, and yet they're still in denial. So if you're in a place of denial, obviously move on, it's not for you. But if you're in a place of willing to see it for what it is, there is something you can do, right? But you fully need to understand it. So that's what this series is for, to really understand, to get that clarity, where once you get that clarity, there's no confusion as to what you will do. You will not be on the side of sitting on the fence anymore, right? So all those fence sitters out there, you know, you have a responsibility, whether you like it or not, by the sheer fact you have a moral compass, right? And if you go against that moral compass, then you are drawing more karma and suffering and misery, not only to yourself, but all those that you say you care for. That's the real thing that's on the line here. And this man, Kelly Thomas, is just one example of how it goes when we sweep everything under the carpet and we just go, well, it's too much for me to handle, right? Your moral compass calls you to act.
Who wasn't fighting back, who was no threat. And watch all the other cops standing there like complete freaking cowards. You tell me that we have brave men and women of law enforcement when in every single one of those videos of cops beating up an innocent person or shooting an innocent person, the best you can hope for is that the other piggies stand there and watch. And usually what happens is they join in the beating or they join in the shooting because they're gang mentality cowards. They are not brave. They are not what you see on TV. They join gangs for the same reason people join the Bloods and the Crips, because they're scared, they're insecure, they're a little psychotic, they want to have power over other people, but they're cowards, so they join together with other thugs, usually armed thugs, so they can lord power over others to make themselves feel like they're important and powerful. That is why cops become cops, and that is why there's so much evidence that they're total freaking cowards.
Okay, so I don't really have much to add there. He's done a pretty exemplary job. So I'm just going to move to the next video. Okay, well, not actually video, it's a slide. So one of the things just dropped in my lap was there used to be such a thing as slave patrols. and they were renamed plantation police. So you can just type this up and it shows up in Wikipedia. But what I want to look at here, as you can see, they were organised by whites as legal and extra legal means to stop slaves from escaping. Now, slave patrols, also known as patrollers, patter rollers, patty rollers, or paddy rollers. How many people are familiar with the term paddy wagon? Hopefully there's a penny drop moment there right now. So think about that, guys. We are the slaves now. We always have been. It just went from, one particular type to the rest. And who are they working for? Right? It's all there for you to see if you want to see it. It's even in the words. Right? So they're well-organized groups of armed men who monitored and enforced discipline upon the slaves. Whose discipline? Think about that. Like, go and think about deeply how police actually operate. Whose discipline are they enforcing? That's the question. Because they're order followers, remember. So someone's giving them the order. As you can see here, look, plantation police, Georgetown County, South Carolina, runaway slave patrol. Now have a look at this, Henderson County. Look at the picture here. Can you see that? I'll see if I can blow it up for you. What does that look like to you? That's North Carolina. So it's right there, the evidence, they're showing it to you, right? They're not hiding it. It's just whether you want to see it or not, what the true nature of police is.
Put in place for equity and truth. That's a quote. As it says in the law code of Namu, or, quote, to prevent the strong from oppressing the weak, as it says in the law code of Hammurabi. However, these claims would be made whilst the same civilizations practiced slavery openly.
Now, what are the claims they make today? That we live in a democracy. You seen the overlap yet? Nothing has changed. They've just been better at concealing it and giving you more comforts. But the actual structure has not changed one iota.
Deciding for their slaves what their rights are, deciding upon their own whims what their punishments are to be.
What does legislation act as, guys? Have a proper think about that. Is that not the way it's done now? Really think about it. Think about all the convict stuff, right? How do they roll it out?
The rulers of these civilizations were seen as having the divine right to rule, as they were often headed by a priest class. If at any time a slave tried to escape, there would be rewards for freer peoples by law to recapture the slave.
All right, now I want you to think about the mask mandates, how much pressure was put on to wear one, to social distance, to QR code. Think about how they were doing it, all those fines that were being imposed on people, anyone who didn't stay indoors when they were supposed to, if they were outside of their, certain area that was designated by their slave masters, what was happening, who was coming out enforcing all that. The overlap is all there. It's just there for you to see if you're ready to see it, guys.
In the 19th century, the people given the specific task by their rulers were called the slave patrol, and they are considered among the origins of modern-day policing. The king or ruler of these different civilizations would be in ultimate control over those considered free or those considered slaves. They would have the imagined power to be the ones to grant others their freedom. This was called manumission or enfranchisement. Historically, people have become slaves as a result of war or government jailing systems, if not born into a slave family or endured unpaid labor. In the 19th century, chattel slavery in the aggregate of society was abolished, primarily by the cause of abolitionism. However, if somebody in today's world becomes imprisoned by their rulers or government, slavery can be used as the punishment for crime. Statistically, about 80% of all modern imprisoned peoples are from victimless crimes. It may even be more than that.
So I'm hoping that's helping drop a few more pennies for you guys, because the evidence is all there in your face. It's always been there. It's just whether you guys have been willing to see it. And like I said, if you know all this, if you're starting to get the knowledge and starting to matter, but you still do nothing, that's no different in action as if you don't know it. So if you're not going to put knowledge to use, then you've wasted your time. You've gone against your moral compass. That's the responsibility that comes with knowledge, is to do something about it. And if you're of that mind that you had enough and you want to stand for truth, there's always a remedy, and it's very peaceful, and it's going to have power when more and more come to that place and start doing something about it. Alright, here it is, guys. If you're serious about taking action and adding your weight to influencing the course of freedom, it's a real easy one for you to do. All the work's been done for you. It's really simple. Just go to the Magna Carta 1215 site, click on News and Articles. This one will be at the top. It's police call to action, police letter campaign. Then you just follow down, and you'll see it's got it all explained, what it's all about. There's a 12-point letter. There's even a video here for you about how to create what's called Royal Mail. So there's a higher likelihood it gets delivered, and you can track it. Right, so you've got evidence it's been delivered. Here it says this flyer has a secondary function that is even more powerful. It can be hand delivered to the mailbox of any police officers you know. Just sit with that impact for a moment. And here is the actual cover letter that goes with it. There's no name required on this, right? It's just download, print, and here's the actual one to download. That's the actual 12 points, which is right here. There's an image of it. So I'm only going to read you a few points here about what's on it. Question and information for police officers. Are you aware that much of your daily shift is spent in criminal activity or supporting the criminal activity of others? Do you understand what the implications of this will be on your personal and family life when it becomes known to the general public, as it will? Are you aware of the extreme seriousness of betraying daily the sanctity of your constable's oath? Everything hinges on this, guys, the constable's oath, right? This is where they can't hide no matter what they try. This is the linchpin that takes the whole system down, and we are letting them know that we understand it and that we're coming after them for it. That's where they panic, guys. And if every single station across the country gets one of these, they're going to be in sheer panic. And the best part is, like I said, it's totally anonymous. If you're afraid that you're going to have some kind of retribution, there's no way it can be done, right? Because no one's name's on this, right? And if they're getting nailed with this, it's just coming piled in. This is when it gets huge, right? Are you aware that such betrayal is classified as high treason under the law you are sworn to uphold, which is the constitution for the entire British Commonwealth, and carries the most severe penalties under the law? Do you realise that your constable's oath means your role is delegated to you by the monarch to protect individual rights? That's the true nature of why we even created police constables, from all who seek to violate them, including the legislative branch of government, as the monarch is duty bound by oath to defend people's individual right to self-determination from parliamentary tyranny. That's the role of the monarch, and that's who the police are supposed to take allegiance to, because it says Our Lady the Queen, or Sovereign Lady the Queen, or Sovereign the King, or something like that. It says some version of that. That means that they are subordinate to the monarch's constitutional coronation oath. And their coronation oath swears to uphold individual rights. And one of those ways it does it is to prevent any kind of governmental tyranny. It's critical. This is about understanding this, like backwards and forwards. Are you aware that your oath of office is the thin blue line that separates lawful criminal behaviour, and that without your oath, adherence to your oath, you no longer police by consent? That's critical, guys, because they come and say that out loud. Alright, so there's really good stuff in here. It goes after them and lets them know about what just doing their job and what's going to be for their family, because the income and assets they've acquired through their actions will eventually be classified as proceeds of crime, which will be confiscated from their surviving family members. So what's the impact on their family going to be like? That's when you're really getting into the back of their minds, guys, where they cannot stop thinking about this. That's the beauty of this. So if you're serious about affecting your freedom, these guys are the ones who are standing in the way. They are what's called the house slaves, right? They come from the people, but they're willing to work against the very people they come from just to get a few extra comforts and move out of the field into the house of their masters, and be their lapdogs. That's what these people are, and this is what we're letting them know is coming from them for what they did to their very own people that have trusted them to protect them. Okay, there you have it again, guys. Like I said, if you're of that mind and you're ready to act, it's all there for you. It's done for you. It's just whether you have the will to go stand for truth, and anyone who doesn't pays the consequences thereof. So whether you like that being said to you or not, it's irrelevant, because you can see it's all verifiable. You can discover it when you don't stand for truth. So that's a choice you make, William.